the markets just don't like uncertainty going back and forth. Yeah, you can make money on this with this point, you can make money over on this side. But in terms of trending up, a certain level of consistency, knowing what the rules are, how to deal with it, and the markets react well. What about consumers out there? What about the confidence here in our economy? The U.S. Economic Confidence Index for the week ending April 16th, the most recent one that was pulled was +4. That's down a couple of points from the week prior to that. It's also down 12 points from early March, and the Dow was going crazy, you're topping 21,000. Ever since the inauguration, economically, there's been kind of a mini boom going on. Is it due to continue, or are there some chinks in the armor going forward? Let's talk about it this morning with Leonard Raskin, who's back on the show, CEO of Raskin Global. Leonard, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for being here. What's your overall take on this, and is it just one, snapshot? Should we be looking at maybe a few more Polaroids to get a better, impression of the economy?
I think that's a great suggestion. I certainly wouldn't take one report that came out on 1 week that says things aren't going well and make that the measure. I think what you said is really important is since the election day, we've had a really nice run-up in the stock market. People pay attention to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. They pay attention to the S&P 500. And what they saw was some great run-up. They saw 401k statements they were very happy with. And then all of a sudden, healthcare reform didn't pass. Mm-hmm. The stock market took a little bit of a drop. The president administration bombed Syria. There's some fallout with North Korea. And all of a sudden, everybody's worried about everything. Well, again, still up from where we were a year ago, certainly, and off a little bit since the election. I wouldn't be so worried about it. I wouldn't be looking at the 20-minute report. I'd be looking at the 20-year report.
I'd be remiss for not asking you, since you're on the line, what you thought of, because it affects individuals and businesses, the one-pager that the administration put out yesterday on tax reform, tax cuts, and growth.
Yeah, I think it's a bold white paper. It's a bold statement, taking the tax brackets from 7 down to 3. We don't know where the breaks are going to be in those 3, so we don't know what it's actually going to mean, but it's awfully bold to go to a 10, 25, and 35% tax rate. I think the cut for corporations and also the big thing there that small businesses, S-corps, and pass-through entities would be at that same 15% tax bracket is a bold statement on the president's part that we want growth, that we want to stimulate this economy, and that we can generate some great opportunity in this country for jobs to be created, for capital to be deployed, for capital to come back from overseas, and that could lead to some great up in the economy, which would certainly make these consumer confidence numbers turn around rapidly.
Yeah.
And the old saying is a recession is when your neighbor's out of work, a depression is when you're out of work.
Yes,
and I think with the promise of what's here could find a lot more people working, and that's going to carry all ships.
If you're a CEO like you are of your company, but if you as a CEO were to meet with Donald Trump and he said, Leonard, your top end here was 35%. I know you weren't really paying 35%. Okay, I know you weren't paying it. But guess what? 15 is the new floor, and there's going to be no passel of deductions, abatements, rebates, or credits, or any of that stuff. 15 is the new. Would you be okay with that? As a business CEO, would you say, yeah, we can deal with that because there's a level of certainty? Would you be okay?
I take it all day and twice on Sunday.
All right.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
The opportunity to, well, whether it's certain or not is as long as the Congress or as long as the president's term, but at least for the near term, I'd have some great predictability, and I'd be able to deploy capital and hire people in a much better way. Look, the government crowds out spending. So if I have to give it to the government at 35%, or I can keep it at 15%,
yeah.
I'm only going to do a few things with it. I'm going to hire more people. I'm going to create more opportunity. I'm going to invest in other companies. I'm going to make that money work to the country's advantage and to my advantage, and that's a great thing.
Well, you used a better word there than I did. I said consistency and predictability is a better word because you're looking long range and you're trying to make a prediction for your business. But if you have a predictable number that you are going to be on the hook for tax-wise, I would think that it makes those overall long-term planning, just like it would in a household budget, much easier to sustain and work through and grow with. It does seem to make sense. Do you think Congress is going to play? We had a congressman on, Tim Walberg, today, 7th District here in Michigan, who said he's really excited by this, and he says, I think it's going to pass. I think it'll go through, and he's going to have a win with this. Your general feeling, too?
My general feeling is they can get the Democrats to come on board. That would be fantastic. It would be a nice bipartisan message to the country. I don't know if they're going to get 15%. It would be wonderful if they did. If we settle on 20, that's a whole lot better still than 35. So a little bit from here, the art of the deal is in play, and we're now at a place where it's time to do some negotiating. I think if we can get close to the numbers the president put out, that would be great for everybody.
Last question here real quick. When you're analyzing financials and possible investments, would you tell anybody right now to have anything to do with major retail in the United States, or are you in a wait-and-see mode? And I mean anything other than the folks who are like Amazon.com.
Well, I don't usually tell people individual stocks that they should buy. What I believe is you should take the overall market view and say, I'm not going to pick one winner or one loser or be on the wrong car at the wrong time. If you invest in an overall international diversified portfolio, hold it for the long term, rebalance it on the opportunities, gives you a much better, smoother ride. And I would play that and say, let's focus again on the long term and not jump into any one thing in the short term. And over the long run, all good companies that create great products and services are going to make money, and we're going to benefit from that.
Leonard Raskin, thanks for being here as always. Appreciate it very much.
Pleasure.